Congratulations! You will meet the Grand Master in 5 seconds. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. You are now meeting the Grand Master.
We have covered quite a bit of Cap 4 in the past year and a half. It has gone through many changes in the past year and a half as well. One of the many changes that it's gone through is a name change. Cap 4, when it was announced, I believe at D23, was going to be called Captain America New World Order. It is now being called Captain America Brave New World, and that is not a new development. We have known about the name change for a while. I believe that director Julius Ona is also still helming this film. A while back, he was also asked about the film and what it was going to be and how he was going to craft this film, and he said that he was going to craft it around it being a paranoid thriller. And that got me really excited when I first heard that, because paranoid thriller, that's the type of film that I'm wanting to sit down and watch. Again, it makes me think of a Captain America and the Winter Soldier. That entire film, the one of the best scenes in that film is the bridge scene where Natasha is being chased by the Winter Soldier. It's after he has shot her. She's trying to clear the street. She's telling everybody out of the way. She starts hiding behind the chair or the car, and you see the Winter Soldier coming up in the distance behind her. The entire scene, that entire movie, is a paranoid thriller, in my opinion. And when I'm thinking paranoid thriller, that's what I'm thinking. But all the rumors and all the things that we've recently heard about Captain America 4 have not led me to believe that this film is going to be that type of film. Some of the rumors that we've heard, and I'll just go down the list here. Harrison Ford, we do know, is all but confirmed to be, by Marvel, to be in the film as Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross. William Hurt's passing, Marvel went ahead and recasted that character, went ahead and recasted him with Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is now going to be taking on the role as Thunderbolt Ross in the film. We've also heard that Betty Ross from the original, from the '08 Incredible Hulk film, was going to be coming back and reprising her role. We heard that, I believe his name, the actor, is Tim Blake, was going to be coming back and reprising his role as the leader. He actually did a recent interview discussing how fans were going to be thrilled with the new appearance of the leader and how it was so much different than what we saw in the '08 film, things like that. So we know that he's coming back. We even heard rumors that Tatiana Maslany's She-Hulk was going to be in the film, along with Scar being in the film. You know, Mark Ruffalo says he's not going to be in the film, but even that was rumored, that Mark Ruffalo's Hulk was also going to be in the film. We also heard that Isaiah Bradley was going to be in the film. We heard that Patriot was going to be in the film. We've heard, even rumors that Sam was going to be putting together a small Avengers team to take on the Red Hulk and the at the time, I don't remember all 5 at the time, it was supposed to be rumored 5 different villains were going to be in the film. So he was going to put together a small Avengers team to help tackle these villains. And at the time, we even heard that Bucky was going to be in the film. The Serpent Society was one of the villains that were going to be in the film, but they have since been taken out of the film as well. We've even heard that Marvel did reshoots for Cap 4, and not just minor reshoots, not just some little tweaks here and there. These were extensive reshoots. These were reshoots, damn near the whole movie got reshot. We've heard that Marvel showed, different screenings to different audiences, and the audiences were not pleased with what they saw in Cap 4. Audiences were bored. Audiences were calling the fight scenes lackluster. Audiences were saying that, the acting was not on par for a typical Marvel film. And when we're watching Marvel in the state that they're currently in, these are not the things and rumors that you're wanting to hear coming from behind the scenes. I'm looking at what Marvel's currently doing with X-Men 97, and it is nail on the head, knock out the park. The reason that X-Men 97 is so successful is because of the writer's room. The people that you had in that writer's room crafting it together, they actually cared about what they were writing. They actually knew about what they were writing. I know that not everybody is so keen and hot on Beau DeMayo, but one of the things that Beau DeMayo demanded when he put that writer's room together was, if you were not a fan of the original X-Men, the 90s series of the X-Men show, you could not be a part of that writer's room. If you did not know anything about the X-Men, you could not be a part of that writer's room. And that's so different from when you hear executive producers over at Marvel like Nate Moore saying things like, well, if you know anything about the comics, that's a red flag.
What I'm trying to say is, we need your help!
I believe 97 is so successful, and maybe that may be the issue behind the scenes with Cap 4. You have a bunch of people that are just trying to cash a check, that don't know anything about these projects, that don't know anything about these characters, their hearts aren't into the writing or what it is that they've been hired to do. And I think that may be one of the issues going on with Captain America 4 behind the scenes. I don't know what Marvel's going to do in terms of fixing everything, but one of the things that everybody had said when the Deadpool trailer dropped was that Deadpool was going to, or I think it was director Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn had seen a snippet of the film, and he had spoken with an interviewer who said that this is the film that's going to save the MCU, and that may not be a direct quote of what he said, but this is going to be the film that saves the MCU. And I had said then I don't believe so. Anybody that knows anything about Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool ever since donning the role knew that Deadpool was going to be a hit. The first one was a hit. The second one was a hit. We all knew that the third Deadpool, with or without the MCU, was going to be a hit. It never hinged on Deadpool, and it still doesn't hinge on Deadpool. It hinges on your films like Cap 4. It hinges on the Fantastic Four. It hinges on films like Avengers 5. That's where that lightning in a bottle Marvel is back conversation is going to come in. It's not going to come in with a Deadpool. It's not going to come in with something like that. But if you want that lightning in a bottle Marvel is back conversation, it's going to happen with the Captain America 4. And that just depends on what Marvel decides to do. Are they going to get it right this time, or is this going to be something where, like we're hearing behind the scenes, it's lackluster? It's another fail for Marvel. Again, I don't want this to be a fail for Marvel. I think that Marvel, with everything we've heard in the past few weeks from Bob Iger and them trying to quietly fix things and quietly cancel things and quietly putting characters back on the forefront that matter, maybe Marvel's starting to get it. Maybe they're starting to see what we have all been seeing since Endgame. And maybe that is something that can be changed with Captain America 4. But, this is what Anthony Mackie himself had to say about the absence of Sebastian Stan not returning to be in the film for Cap 4. He goes on to say, The Falcon and Winter Soldier, I really enjoyed doing that show. I was actually excited to do a second season just so me and Sebastian could get paid to hang out. Because it's like me, him, and Daniel, it's kind of like the perfect storm of happiness. When they decide to go back to do the movies, it is what it is. But I don't have my friends anymore. So it kind of dampens it a little bit. Anything I can do to hang out with Daniel and Dancing Daniel makes me very happy. So we're not going to see Sebastian Stan's Bucky show up in this film, and that's another major takeaway from the film. And the reason I say that's a major takeaway is because I said it during Falcon Winter Soldier, and I'm still saying it now. I don't believe that a Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie can lead and helm his own film and garnish interest like that. And that was kind of evident with what they did with Falcon and Winter Soldier. It wasn't originally going to be Falcon and Winter Soldier. It was going to be the Falcon show. I don't know what it was going to be called, but they added Bucky. And I believe that Bucky got added because the interest of Sam, powerless Sam, is not there. We're talking about a man that only has powers due to the generosity of Wakanda giving him a vibranium suit. Without that suit, he's just a man. The difference in Captain America was he had the super soldier serum, and now they could do like the comics, and maybe this version of Sam takes the super soldier serum. I don't see that happening. He's already made that plain in Falcon Winter Soldier. That's not the route he wants to go down. So we're left with a powerless Sam who, again, did not even make me give a damn about him in a 6-episode series where I was supposed to. I don't know. I liked him better as the Falcon. Really didn't care for him as Falcon either, but he was there as Falcon. Him taking on the Stars and Stripes, I understand he is Cap. I don't have anything against Sam being Cap. I have nothing against Sam being Cap in the comics. It's simply I don't believe that Anthony Mackie has the star power, nor does Sam have the household name like a Captain America, like an Iron Man, like a Spider-Man, like a Black Panther to garnish interest for people to come and watch him. That's just my opinion on it. But, your mileage may vary. As always, question is for you. Let us know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. Do you believe that Anthony Mackie has the star power, or Sam Wilson as a character has the star power to helm an entire film on his own, being powerless? Do you think that all of these the rumors and the things that we've heard behind the scenes are working against Cap 4? Or do you think that maybe Marvel is starting to get things together behind the scenes? The light has finally come on, and they are actually going to make Captain America 4 something that fans can really say, wow, Marvel is actually back. But let me know what you guys are thinking down below in the comments. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. We'll see you guys all in the next video. Pirates of the Caribbean 6 has been a conversation for quite a while, and one of the questions surrounding that conversation was, is Johnny Depp going to return as Captain Jack Sparrow? We had heard many rumors in the background of what they were going to do and what they were trying to make work. We had heard some rumors surrounding Margot Robbie, that they wanted to pull Margot Robbie in as a female version of the character, but take it a different direction. We had heard versions that they wanted to recast the character altogether, but a younger version, and do a prequel type of film where they were going to have a young version of Captain Jack and how he became Captain Jack Sparrow. There were so many different things that they were trying behind the scenes to get to work. But the only thing, and this is with any franchise and their main character, the only thing that's going to work is if you put Johnny Depp back on the role. And it's not so much as putting Johnny Depp back on the role, it's also the question of, does Johnny Depp want to come back to work for Disney? Does Johnny Depp want to come back and not so much be Captain Jack Sparrow, because I do truly believe that he loves being that character. He's talked about that in interviews. It's, does Johnny Depp want to come back and work with Disney? But if Disney wants to reboot this franchise or bring this franchise back in any type of way, the only way it works is with Johnny Depp. That's why when you heard all the rumors that we were hearing of them trying with Margot Robbie, them trying it with other female leads, them trying it with a younger version of him, doing prequels, doing in-between films, they were never working. Each time they tried a new script, a new idea, a new rumor, it got scrapped, because it's all coming back to who? Johnny Depp. It's coming back to the franchise's main character. I don't know what this weird dance is that we are doing in Hollywood right now, where we're trying to take away franchises' main characters and trying to do these. I mean, we're watching it right now in Sony. Sony has owned the Spider-Man IP for however long they've owned the Spider-Man IP, and the only time that we've gotten anything new from Spider-Man is within the MCU. They're too busy doing Spider-Man's villains and giving them their own films and not using the franchise's main characters. Look at Madam Web. It was a failure. Look at Venom: Let There Be Carnage. It did not do what its predecessor did, because people are getting sick of doing this dance of where's the franchise's main character. And that is no different than if I was going to go sit down in a Pirates of the Caribbean film, and if I do not see Captain Jack Sparrow, what are we doing? That's not the interest. And I feel like I'm not alone in that. I've seen so many different people on Twitter. I've seen so many different YouTube videos of people saying how, if Disney wants to make the right decision, if Disney wants to bring Pirates back, the only way it happens is you need to get on your hands and knees and beg Johnny Depp to come back to the role. You got to throw the kitchen at him at that point. Because again, Johnny has expressed that he wants to do he loves that character, but again, it's that conversation of, does he want to work with Disney? We've now got some new developments about what Pirate 6 actually might be, and it seems like it might be Disney going the route of not bringing Johnny Depp back as Captain Jack Sparrow. In a recent interview, producer Jerry Bruckheimer was asked about what we can expect in in Pirates of the Caribbean 6, and this is what he had to say. He said, "It's hard to tell. You don't know. You really don't know. You don't know how they come together. You just don't know, because with Top Gun, you have an actor who is iconic and brilliant, and how many movies he does before he does Top Gun, I can't tell you. But we're going to reboot Pirates, so that is easier to put together because you don't have to wait for certain actors." So when he says that's easier to put together because you don't have to wait for certain actors, that's, to me, them saying, and I believe to the masses, saying, we're moving on. We're going to reboot this franchise. We don't have to wait for Johnny Depp. We're not waiting for Johnny Depp. We're going to now go pull a new actor in, and we're going to reboot this franchise altogether. And to me, that is one of the biggest mistakes that you can do with this franchise. If that was the point, let me put it this way. I loved the first Pirates. First Pirates came out, I think I was in third grade when that first Pirates of the Caribbean movie came out. I loved the second one. I loved the third one. I think the third one is my favorite one. The fourth one is good. How many are there? I think there's the fifth one for me. It wasn't a home run, but it was still a good, fun film. And all 5 of those films still made money, despite the storylines kind of going a little wonky in the fourth and fifth one. Both those films, all 5 of those films, still made money, and that was purely because people adored the character of Captain Jack Sparrow, and people adore the fact that Johnny Depp plays Captain Jack Sparrow. It's Johnny Depp. And I don't know why that is so hard to comprehend or why we're doing this weird dance around this, but I'm telling you right now, Pirates of the Caribbean 6 without Johnny Depp is dead on arrival. If you do not have Johnny Depp in that, if you do not have Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow in this film, leading this film, it is dead on arrival. I do not see people garnishing interest to go see a Pirates of the Caribbean 6 without Johnny Depp, but I could be wrong. Your mileage may vary. As always, the question is for you guys, so let me know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. Do you think that a Pirates of the Caribbean 6 is able to withstand any type of publicity without Johnny Depp in the film? Do you think that by recasting this character, if it is a recast, do you think by rebooting this franchise and going a completely different route is the right idea, or do you think that this is, again, like I think, going to be a dead on arrival project? As always, questions for you. Let me know down below in the comments. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Right, well, here's a name that we haven't talked about in quite a while, and that is Ezra Miller. They are back in the headlines, and this time it's not because they are holding anyone hostage. It's not because that they are proclaiming that they are the next Messiah, and it's not because that they are saying that their marriage to a minor is going to bring forth an apocalypse. No. It's not because of any of those reasons. It's simply because they have been removed from Invincible Season 2 as D.A. Sinclair, the voice of D.A. Sinclair. Now, I did not even know that in Season 1, Ezra Miller voiced D.A. Sinclair, but that's kind of nail on the head for the character and for Ezra Miller. The character is weird. Ezra Miller themselves are also very weird. So when you look at them being removed and things like that, I'm not surprised. No one should be surprised that Ezra Miller was removed from Invincible Season 2. Again, for all of the atrocities that they performed. I mean, we've talked about this many times. The list goes on. Held the island of Hawaii hostage, broke into that couple's home, threatened to set them on fire, stole that person's passport, threw that chair at that woman's head for singing karaoke at the karaoke. I mean, the list goes on. So I'm not surprised that they are removed from the Invincible Season 2. Again, I did not know that they even played D.A. Sinclair, but this is what CBR put down for us as in their newest article. They said Ezra Miller's replacement for Invincible Season 2 has just been revealed. In the first season of Invincible, the Flash star Ezra Miller provided the voice of the mad scientist. I mean, again, on par for the character, but mad scientist D.A. Sinclair. The character is back in the newest episodes of Season 2, but Miller is no longer voicing the role. Per Entertainment Weekly, Eric Barza, Bob Burger's Looney Tunes franchise, was brought in to voice the character, revealing that Miller was quietly replaced for the series. No official announcements were made about the recasting, but it comes after a string of controversies associated with the actor, which may have played a big part in The Flash failing short of expectations at the box office. I mean, yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about The Flash in a long time because I actually forget that film exists. I forget a lot about that time. That I felt like that was an era, with the Miller era. I forget a lot about the Miller era because they have been so quiet. They have been, to themselves, and maybe they are getting the help that we were all saying that they should have been getting when they were, the string of controversies, as CBR so kindly put it, that they were performing. So maybe that's what they were doing. Or maybe that's what they are doing. They are getting the help that we were all saying saying that they should have been getting then. But again, I did not know that Miller even played mad scientist D.A. Sinclair. Once again, nail on the head for him and for the character. It does make sense. He even kind of looks like the character a little bit. If you look at him, D.A. Sinclair there, you look at Miller there, they do kind of even resemble one another. So mad scientist, mad actor, it does make sense. But what do you guys think about Miller being, quietly replaced from Invincible season 2? It doesn't really. I didn't know, so it didn't. It kind of was like one of those things where, just kind of, another recast. Recasting works. So I don't know, but you guys let me know what you guys think down below about Ezra Miller not being a part of Invincible season 2. Is anybody really shocked by that? But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. I'll see you guys in the next video. The X-Men are something that all MCU fans are eagerly waiting for, and I don't think it could be made any more clear with how well received X-Men 97 has been. The show has been a complete success so far. We're on episode 3 going into episode 4, and I have found myself actually anticipating week to week wanting to see a Disney Plus Marvel show, and that hasn't happened for me since Loki season 1. So the X-Men are something that are on all Marvel fans' brains, something that we are all wanting to see. And Giancarlo Esposito has been fan casted in this role as either Professor X or Magneto for quite some time, and he has been well aware of the fan casting and has mentioned and talked about it in interviews and on different cons and things like that before. And he has expressed his interest in wanting to portray Professor X, or wanting to portray Magneto, but specifically Professor X, and wanting to play the good guy. And here recently, he did a interview with GQ magazine in the UK, and he told fans that he would consider it an honor, which is something he's has said before, that he would consider it an honor to play Professor X. But he went on to say that he would want Professor X, the version that he would play, to have some twist on it. He would want it to be a different type of version of Professor X and not bound to the wheelchair. And this is something that we have seen in comics for people that's like, oh, well, no, that veers from the character. We've seen this in comics, and Professor X himself in comics, it detests actually being in the chair, so that it's not something that is not done. We have seen different versions of Professor X take on, what is it? Uncanny X-Men number 167, I believe it is, where where Professor X dies and then he takes on the clone body, and he is walking. There's, and that's just one version. It's just one example, but there are several examples that could be done in the MCU. And as we all know, the MCU does not always stick straight to the comics. They do veer from that. Now, do I believe that is something that they are going to do with Professor X? Or I think that they're going to make Professor X, I don't. I believe that Professor X within the MCU is still going to be in the wheelchair. But Esposito did previously express an interest in playing the version of Xavier who is not yet in his wheelchair, something that Michael Fassbender got to do in X-Men First Class. The character has also periodically used his mental powers to allow himself to get out of the chair. Another example there, although that isn't really practical in most stunt and combat situations where he would have to be focused on an opponent. But this is what Esposito said. He said, I've given it a curious glance and in my brain, and immediately I go, it'd be great to play Professor X in some other incarnation than just the wheelchair, right? Because the physical idea of being in a wheelchair every single day does not appeal to me. Esposito recently told Fade the Black podcast, I just don't feel that old, and I don't feel like sitting that much, but certainly would could figure something out maybe. Professor X wasn't always in a wheelchair, but that is a part of the character development. So I think about it a little bit, but I don't give it all of my thought because it would have to come to me. After years of typecasting as a villain, Esposito has said before, including during a recent Tonight Show interview, that he has interest in taking on a heroic role in the MCU. So, that is something, again, that's something that we've seen in the comics. We've seen We've seen it done plenty of times where Professor X can either use his mental abilities, or there's some type of cloning, or something has happened, or a death has happened, or something like that. It's Marvel Comics. We've seen so many people die and come back, and so many different healings and of injuries or whatever it might be. It's Marvel Comics. It's comics. It's fiction. So these characters are come in so many different forms. But I do, when he did say the idea of sitting in a wheelchair does not appeal to me. That does make me think, though, when he first started talking about wanting to play the character of Professor X, what did he think that it was going to be? And I still, as I said at the beginning, I don't believe that Marvel's going to go the route of making Professor X, giving him the ability to stand or anything like that. I mean, we don't know exactly where we're going to be with the X-Men when they introduce the X-Men, what era of the X-Men this is going to be. Have they always been around? I mean, we've gotten hints within the MCU that somewhat they have been around, or whatever it has been, but we don't know exactly where we're going to be at with the X-Men when they are introduced into the MCU. But when he says he doesn't want to sit in a wheelchair, well, buddy, you're playing a wheelchair guy. He's in a wheelchair, so he would be in a wheelchair for most of the time. But as I've said before, I think it's cool. I like the idea of Giancarlo being Professor X. But he also did say, I think it was a week or two back, where he was saying how he thinks that it would be cool don't misquote. I don't want to misquote it, but he said he thinks that it'd be cool for him and Denzel Washington for him to portray Professor X, and for Denzel Washington to portray Magneto. And again, these are fan casts that we've all talked about. These are discussions that within the nerdy spaces that we're in, we've had these conversations. But as I said on Twitter, I do not want Professor X to be black, and I do not want Magneto to be black either. I think that the race, I'm not big on race swapping and things like that. If you want to make a new character, do that. But these characters have been a certain way, and these are the way that we when the talks about the Fantastic Four were going around, and they were going to be, at one point, we thought that they were going to be a multicultural version of the Fantastic Four. I never liked that then. I talked about it then. Race swapping is not really something I care for. And I know that Giancarlo is a great actor, but there are other black characters within the Marvel universe that are collecting dust on the shelf over at the Marvel Cinematic Studios universe, that could be brought into the MCU that Giancarlo could play, or that Denzel could play. Instead of race swapping them to play a white character, why not dust the dust off of some of those black characters that are eager to get into the MCU? And I know I can hear some people saying, well, those names some of those names won't carry, some of those names aren't Iron Man, won't do the numbers that Iron Man does, won't do the numbers that Cap does, won't do the numbers that Spider-Man does, and things like that. Well, I beg to differ, because at one point in time, Black Panther was not a household name like that. And you cannot sit and tell me that in 2016 that Black Panther was a household name until that Black Panther film came out. When the Black Panther film came out, it was not only a cultural movement, it was a global movement. That film was so spectacular. You have to take yourself back to 2016. That was Marvel's first $1.3 billion film. The first $1 billion film that put $1 billion in Marvel's pocket. So to say that he became a household name is really an understatement. He became a global name. And that's not something that the Black Panther was before. Of course, there were many Black Panther fans. I'm not diminishing that. The character was created in the 60s during the height of the Civil Rights Movement. So, of course, many people knew who the Black Panther was, T'Challa the Black Panther. But at the end of the day, he wasn't a household name like Marvel, not like Captain America, like Iron Man, like Spider-Man. People knew who Black Panther was, but it wasn't until that 2016 film came and did what it did that he became a global name, more than just a household name. So to say that, some of those black characters like a Blue Marvel, don't have that. No, they do. I've seen so many people saying, well, what you could do is you could take, if they do race swap and have it Magneto being black, you could take it instead of having the Holocaust theme, you could have it to where it's a slavery theme or a Jim Crow era theme or something like that. And I'm like, why? I don't do that. And why I say don't do that, because it's unnecessary. One, you don't need to race swap and then bring up these traumative stories for black folks. First of all, no. I can go watch a 12 Years a Slave if I want to see that. I can go watch a Mississippi Burning if I want to see something like that. And I know they're not showing things like that on the film. I know that's just the backstory that they want to play here, but keep that. The reason I say keep that is because if you want a story that's similar to that, there is a black character that is equivalent to the black Superman within the Marvel universe, and that is Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel's character wore a mask during the time that he was a hero, and that was during that Jim Crow era that you want to put on Magneto. During that era where it was whites only here or blacks only here, or don't drink from this water fountain if you're black, or things like that. Was the time that Blue Marvel was a hero, and he wore a mask at that time. During that time, President Kennedy was president in the comic, and there was a fight that ensued, and his mask got knocked off during the fight, to where the world saw, oh wow, this is a nigga protecting us. We can't have that. People started rioting. People weren't happy with it and things like that, to where the president, Kennedy, had called him in, gave him a medal, and said, we appreciate your service, but what we need you to now do is retire. We can't have a superhero, a black superhero flying around, because they had a private conversation before pulling Blue Marvel in and said, well, what if he does get upset with us and turns on us, then, blah, blah, all the what ifs and things like that. But they made him retire. So if you want a story like that, you've already got it. You don't need to go placing unnecessary elements onto Magneto where they never were. That's why I say don't recast, or don't make Professor X black, and don't make Magneto black. You want black characters, just pull them off the shelf and put them on the screen. That's all you've got to do. That's all you have to do. There are already black characters. I know. Not a lot of people know who they are, but that's simply because of the dust that they are collecting. You dust that dust off of them, and then boom, you might have yourself another Black Panther. You never know. But to do the whole race swapping thing, and that's not where I meant to go with this conversation, but it's just where it led us. To do the whole race swapping thing, that's just it's played out, it's lazy, and it shows that there's nothing creative going on behind the scenes over there. You got to be more creative than just this race swapping and taking this and putting it on this character. It's just as lazy as doing the whole T'Challa Jr. thing and put another conversation, but it's very lazy. So, but as always, question is for you guys. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking of the newest comments that Giancarlo has made about playing Professor X, him saying that he would rather play a different incarnation of Professor X, where before the wheelchair, where he's not in the wheelchair because it doesn't appeal to him to sit in a wheelchair all day. So what are you guys thinking about that? And also let me know what you think about the whole race swapping thing. Do you think that it's okay to have Professor X and Magneto portrayed as black, or do you think that they should still be white, and that there are other black characters that you could usher into the MCU if that's what you want to do? Let me know down below in the comments. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. I will see you guys in the next video. In the boys universe, we have gotten some very tragic and very, very, very sad news. I mean, it is always sad when any person passes, but it is especially sad to me when a young person's life is cut short due to a tragic accident. And that is exactly what has happened with Chance Perdomo. We have learned earlier today that Chance passed away in a tragic motorcycle accident. And for those of you that don't know, he's played on Sabrina. I believe that was on Netflix, and also in Gen V, the spinoff of the Boys series. This is what Deadline had to recently say in an article that they've got. Very, very tragic accident. Today was supposed to be a happy day for the cast and producers of Prime Video's Gen V, as they were supposed to reconvene in Toronto for the superhero series' first season 2 table read this afternoon ahead of the start of filming schedule of April 8th in Canadian City. Instead, they woke up to the news that one of the show's stars, Chance Perdomo, had died in a motorcycle accident, spending Saturday trying to come to grips with the sudden and profound loss. There is little detail about the circumstances surrounding Perdomo's death at the age of 27. He is believed to have died late last night or early this morning in the upstate New York on his way back to Toronto, citing authorities. The actor's representative said today that no other individuals were involved in the crash. So like I said, it's very, very tragic every single time. The season 2 has been delayed indefinitely due to the tragic accident of Chance. So again, this is very sad. This is not it's always sad when we have to report on deaths. Always sad when we have to report on deaths. When we report on actors or musicians or anything like that, or people that are, again, whether you know them or not. I feel like when we are watching these Netflix shows or we're watching any of these streaming shows, these movies or whatever, I know I say this a lot. The actors on these shows and things like that, they give us glimpses into their lives, whether it be on Twitter with some of the things they tweet, whether it be on Instagram with some of the personal pictures or reels or whatever it is they might post. It makes us as the viewers and fans feel a certain connection to these people and feel as if we do know these people, even though we don't, feel as if we do know these people and we feel again very close to them. So it is always very sad when someone in Hollywood or someone in general just passes away. So it's very sad, especially at the age of 27. He was going on to do Gen V season 2, and now that has been again indefinitely delayed. So this is something that is tragic. More developments, I'm sure, are going to come out. More things will come out as to what transpired before the accident. I definitely have his family in my prayers. I just pray that God wraps his hands around his mother, his father, his loved ones, his friends, everyone, because again, it is very, very sad. Something that I remember in the basketball world, for those of you that don't know, I coach in the basketball world. It was, I believe, in 2020 or 2021. Young Terrence had passed when he was on I believe he was going to be going to North Carolina or Duke, and it was not a motorcycle accident, but it was a car accident, and that he was only 18, 19 years old. Very, very sad. It's always sad when a young person's life is cut short. So, but definitely wanted to report on this, and we will stay up to date and keep you guys up to date on any new developments coming out with this. But this is very sad. We are all definitely saddened and mourning with the loss of Chance, with the cast of Gen V. Again, praying for his family. But definitely let me know if you guys watch Gen V down below, if you where you may have first seen Chance. Let me know those thoughts down below, and if you could just send a heart down below for his family in the comments, that'd be much appreciated. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and hopefully when we see you guys in the next video, it is a much lighter story. Thanks for watching.